Hi guys, and welcome back to SwitchUp. Get ready for that backlog to burst a tiny little bit more. Either that or just run away now. There are some incredible games on sale at the moment. Be sure to check the bottom of the screen because it will let you know based on the price which regions the sale is available in. But without further ado, let's get into the list. At 40% off, bringing it down to around about £26, is Final Fantasy X and X2, the HD remaster on the Nintendo Switch. Now, whatever you think about the slightly interesting game Blitzball, which I absolutely loved, these are some great games. At the time, they were visually stunning, and unlike some of the other remasters we've seen of the older games, here they redid the cutscenes to HD and spent a bit more time tuning the audio. You can play with classic or the new audio, depending on what you prefer. But all in, you're getting over 100 hours of gameplay here. Be warned that it is a 26.9 gigabyte file, so you better make sure you've got space for it. In this story, Tidus and the young summoner named Yuna are questing to save the world, which is unsurprising. The world here is called Spira, and it was a very lovely design. It was one of the main things that attracted me to the game when it first released. It's a game that will completely suck you in, and if you've got the time for it, 40% off is well worth it. Mark of the Ninja Remastered is currently 40% off on the Switch. It's one of the most critically acclaimed stealth games and takes place from a side-scrolling perspective. There's an immense amount of detail to this one, and it went onto the Switch a little unnoticed, probably due to the slightly higher price at the time, but I would say it's now the time to pick it up. It describes itself as a true stealth experience with a player-centric gameplay that rewards your choice. You can finish the entire game without killing anyone or by assassinating all those who stand in your way. It does include the special edition DLC, The Dosen's Tale, which adds a new character, level, items, and a developer commentary. The visuals have been tweaked for the Switch, allowing for both a cinematic or a gameplay-centric style, and has a new game plus mode as well. All that for £10, I would say this is a definite pickup on sale right now. Next up is the much-loved Rime from Greybox. Now, when this dropped on the Nintendo Switch, the performance was diabolical. It was a blur fest, it was laggy, it was, in no uncertain terms, a mess. But it is a lovely game, really lovely. It combines adventure and puzzle solving with a touch of walking simulator, but not much. It really is about that adventure puzzle solving. The island is a real star of the show, but it's that main character as well, and how he develops throughout the story. There is real tragedy in this one, and it's just, I don't know what it is about it. It was actually Glenn that sold this one to me. He told me that at the end of the game, he was just so emotionally involved with the main character, and that it left a real impact on him. And I would say if you haven't played this, or if you've just been maybe interested by the screenshots or the gameplay you can see on the screen, consider picking this one up and just let us know how you get on. I think you're going to enjoy it a lot if you like those single player, story driven adventure experiences. Which takes us on to the very well-known game Diablo III: The Eternal Collection. Now, when you talk about best in class in cars or games or movies or whatever, I'd say that Diablo 3 is best in class for the action RPG genre. There's so much content here. There is literally hundreds or even thousands of hours of content, and at 30% off, I think it's a much more appealing price. They've also included some Nintendo Switch exclusives, like being able to discover different pieces of Zelda's world in Sanctuary, a Triforce portrait frame, as well as a few other little pieces of perhaps Ganondorf's armor. There's loads here, and you can play the whole thing with up to 4 people in co-op locally or online, and is constantly being added to. So this isn't something that's a dead end. It's something you could be playing for, well, I hate to put a number on it, for a long, long time. The next one is called Street Fighter, the 30th Anniversary Collection, and it's one that I know Glenn is going to absolutely love being on the list. It's 60% off at the moment, and that's for 12 arcade classics. Now, if you like fighting games, or if you're even slightly interested in them, this is really a homage to the last 30 years and how much of a dominant impact Street Fighter's had on the fighting game genre. Don't be fooled by the fact that this has some of the classic titles in it and thinking that they'll be more simplistic. There is a real nuance to the gameplay on offer here, and if you are a fan, I would strongly suggest at 60% off, this might be the time to have a look. The next game that I'd recommend you having a look at if you're a fan of the XCOM series is a little known title called Phantom Doctrine from Forever Entertainment. It takes place in the year 1983, where the world teeters on the verge of destruction as the Cold War tightens its icy grip, or so they say on the eShop. Now, essentially, it is very much an XCOM experience. It has everything here you would expect, but I did really like the espionage style storyline that overarches the whole proceedings. There is a large single-player story campaign that's over 40 hours long, a good range of movement controls, and a great deal of gameplay on offer if you are a fan of the aforementioned series. Now, if you don't fancy this one, then also Hard West is on sale and follows a very similar premise in terms of the gameplay. Both good games and worth checking out on sale. Next up then is the amazing Valkyria Chronicles 4 from Sega. Now this didn't even release that long ago, but they've knocked off a massive 50% here. If you've not played these before, again, they're slightly turn-based games whereby each battlefield or scenario, if you will, plays out as two sides controlling different units, including tanks, snipers, and each member of your squad has their own unique abilities. It uses the Blitz battle system, which is part overhead turn-based strategy, part RPG, and part third-person shooter. It has a beautiful watercolor style world that's a bit washed out but really has a lovely charm to it. And if you've played the other games, or maybe even if you haven't, I'd still say there's more than enough here to dive into for any existing or new player. Currently rocking around about 40% off, I think Owlboy is an absolute essential. This platform adventure action game featuring, well, an Owlboy is a story-driven platform adventure where you can fly, explore a brand new world in the clouds, pick up your friends, and bring them with you as you explore the open skies. Now there's a real charm to this one as you embark upon a journey through monster-infested lands with loads of unexpected encounters, secrets, and there's a heaviness to the story as well. Yes, it's a love letter to the pixel art that we knew of old, but as Glenn and I always mention, sometimes it's taken to that next level, and everything here is done amazingly, and there are effects and parallax scrolling that just wouldn't have been possible back in the day. You can recruit his friends to fight as gunners for you, each having their own unique abilities and stories, and there are large dungeons with big and challenging boss fights, and this game actually took 10 years to make. It is a complete labour of love and it paid off magnificently. 40% off, go out and buy it. Do yourself a favour. Next up is the hugely underrepresented Gorogoa from Annapurna Interactive, and it was the creation of Jason Roberts. It's a puzzle game told through a really interesting hand-drawn series of images. The gameplay of Gorogoa is completely unlike anything that I've played before. As you manipulate the various panels into positions on the screen, you'll unlock different areas and be able to move within them. It's a very simple idea, but one that's executed magnificently. Now, Jason Roberts himself created thousands of hand-painted and hand-drawn illustrations, encompassing the impressive scope of the very personal narrative. It really does blur the line between a work of art and a computer game, and if you are interested at all in a puzzle game with a unique twist, this is one you shouldn't miss. Described by many as a Shenmue with a pixel art 2D style, the Friends of Ringo Ishikawa was hugely praised when it launched, but it was kind of swallowed up by so many other good releases. Now this is currently 20% off in the sale, and you follow Ringo, who is a gang leader but also a senior in high school, with day-to-day challenges and routines to follow. You have freedom in how you pass each day, and as time progresses, a natural story plays out that's inspired by Yakuza delinquent aesthetics. This is a story, it's mostly about gangs, friendship, and most of all about growing up. You can pick fights with other gangs and master the game's mechanics, utilizing punches, kicks, and grapples, so there's an element of beat 'em ups in here as well. And as the eShop states, there's also quite a lot to do within the world. It blends a variety of different gameplay mechanics. As mentioned, those beat 'em up styles, mini games, and ways of making money, but also staying fed, studying for school, going to bars, cafes, or restaurants. There's a ton to do here, and it's an incredibly deep game, despite what the visuals might lead you to believe. For 20% off, I would say this is going to be one that many of you would never have heard of, but you should definitely check out. Many of you will be sitting there thinking, why hasn't he mentioned Hollow Knight? Why hasn't he mentioned all the other Final Fantasy games? Kill la Kill's on sale, Siberia's on sale, Monster Boy's on sale, Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap is on sale, Rock of Ages. The list goes on and on. This is probably one of the best sales we've ever seen. So if you've not had a chance to hop onto the eShop, get on there now, because it's the time to buy all of those little titles, maybe the lesser known ones that either passed you by or you weren't able to pick up because they were just too expensive. Let me know down in the comments what you've bought, because I'm sure, despite the ridiculous backlog, let's be honest, the little noise it makes when you make a purchase is so irresistible. Thanks so much for watching. To all our patrons who support us every single month, we've almost reached 100 patrons, which is crazy. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!